Welcome to the Association for Mormon Letters Annual Awards Ceremony, honoring works published in 2025, as well as the 2026 Lifetime Achievement Awards. My name is Jeanine Bee. I am a writer and the fiction editor for Wayfair magazine, as well as an organizer and judge for Wayfair's annual short play competition, which is currently accepting submissions. I am so excited to be here with Andrew Hall to celebrate 50 years of AML with all of you. The Association for Mormon Letters has been giving awards for literary works annually since 1978. The very first AML awards were given for critical writing, short fiction, and poetry. Since then, the landscape of Mormon letters has only grown. This year, we will be honoring award winners in 14 different categories, including comics, drama, film, and even podcasts. The past 50 years have seen so much expansion in the world of Mormon letters that our writers and artists are even pushing beyond the expected boundaries of Mormon creatives. As one example, this year, Stephen Peck, who was honored by AML in 2020 for his outstanding contribution to Mormon letters, became the first Mormon author to be published in the Penguin Classics series, alongside such noted voices as Macarthur, Twain, and Proust. It's been a prolific 50 years, and we're only getting better from here. So with that being said, let's move on to the awards portion of the broadcast. The finalists and the winners in each category are chosen by juries of authors, academics, and critics. For each award, I will announce the winner and read from the award citation written by the judges. Then, when possible, we will share a video from the winning authors or creators with the words of their acceptance. We'll begin with the AML Lifetime Achievement Award, an annual award to celebrate the career of a notable Mormon creator. This year, we are happy to present the award to the brilliant Angela Hallstrom. A Lifetime Achievement Award indicates less that a recipient's life work is finished and more that her work shows significant impact and longevity. In the case of Angela Hallstrom, her work does these things and also shows great breadth across genres and communities within the LDS world. She served as a features and then fiction editor at AML's literary journal Iriantum and was given an AML Special Award for Service in 2006 after she stepped in after the sudden death of Iriantum editor Lorraine Wilkins. She then served as one of the head editors of Iriantum in 2007 to 2010. In 2010, she used her editorial gifts in the creation of a new anthology of Mormon-related short fiction, Dispensation, Latter-day Fiction, which I think is a fabulous collection. This important work provided audiences much-needed access to the best Mormon fiction in recent years. Her 2008 novel in stories, Bound on Earth, was immediately hailed as one of the great Mormon novels of the modern era, praised for its literary skill as much as its focus on Mormon characters. From 2016 to 2021, Angela worked as a writer in the church's history department, hired specifically to help produce the historical narrative series Saints. In her narrative work, she integrated meticulously researched historical materials into accessible, character-driven stories that make church history accessible and exciting for a wide variety of readers. For her work as a teacher, writer, mentor, editor, and all-around proponent of literature by, for, and about the Latter-day Saints, the Association of Mormon Letters is pleased to present its award for lifetime achievement to Angela Hallstrom. Earlier this week, we held an interview in which Darlene Young and Lisa Olson-Tate talked to Angela about her career, with Darlene focusing on her literary career and her service to AML, and Lisa focusing on her historical writing. This interview is available on the same AML YouTube site where you are watching this video currently. You should go check it out. Andrew, you were there for that recording, weren't you?
Sorry, okay. Yes, I was. Yes, I was, and it was great. And so I'm so happy to honor Angela. And she's truly one of our great authors, but also a real spirit behind the organization. Has been constantly doing things to keep it going from behind the scenes. And so it was a real honor to honor her.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see the interview. I'm sure it's fabulous. Everyone should go watch it. All right. Next up, we'll be presenting the Smith Pettit Foundation Award for Outstanding Contribution to Mormon Letters. This is an award designed for mid-career artists. And we are happy to present the award to James Goldberg, a poet, novelist, essayist, playwright, documentary filmmaker, historian, translator, and friend to so many of us in the LDS Letters community. Over the past 20 years, James Goldberg has established himself as a central figure in the Mormon literary community, writing poetry, plays, novels, short stories, essays, and book-length creative nonfiction, all related to the Mormon experience. He has also translated Mormon fiction and acted as a community organizer. Aristotle advocated for observing in any given case the available means of persuasion. And James does this not with argument, but with storytelling, by embracing, wrestling, and playing with many forms, formats, and traditions to bring life, insight, and perspective to the page. We are pleased to award him with the Smith Pettit Foundation Award for Outstanding Contribution to Mormon Letters. As we do so, we look forward to his future contributions, and we hope that each of us will do more to follow in his footsteps and use our imaginations to cultivate a Mormon literary community. James has done so much for the literary community, I know, with his Mormon Lit Blitz, and then of course all of his work that he's added and just building so much. Andrew, what's your experience with James and his work?
James just exudes love and excitement, and you're around him, you just feel excited. And I remember when I'd read about it, knew him online a little bit, but then when I met him at first, I'm like, oh, this is an Old Testament prophet, kind of with but just with a mixture of the love of like a local bishop as well. And so yes, I'm very happy that we can honor him.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have two videos celebrating James's career here on the AML YouTube channel. First, Melissa Leilani Larson, James's colleague in the theater as well as at the church history department, interviewed James about his career. Second, we convened a panel of experts to discuss different aspects of James's career. They were the novelists Catherine Cowley and Rafael Vasquez, the poet and poetry scholar Ed Whitley, and the historian Christopher Jones. And I know I was talking to James and he thought it was really cool to hear people talk about all this work that he's written over his career. And I think all the rest of us should tune in as well and see what they had to say. All right, now we're going to move on to the Comics Award. The finalists for this award are Maddie Baker, Michael Grover, Nick Perkins, and Camilla Stark. I'm really excited we have a Comics Award, by the way. I think it shows how much Mormon Letters has grown in recent years. And the winner for this award is Camilla Stark for her graphic novel, The Desert Prophet. The simple, illustrative style of The Desert Prophet hides a depth that is not often seen in comics. Stark walks the reader through a stark desert full of saints, sinners, and beasts, as the Desert Prophet does everything he can to escape his calling, while on his way to tell the desert god that he's done being the prophet. Stark shows that the journey, both external and internal, and what we think we know about ourselves and others is not always as simple as it may appear at first glance. The Desert Prophet struggles every step of the way to their destination atop the mountain, and they change their perspective about their life along the way. Stark paints a detailed picture with her simple style, drawing the reader into the story and revealing it one frame at a time. And we have a video from Camilla with her acceptance.
Hi, I'm Camilla.
Start from the start.
Hi, I'm Camilla, creator of The Desert Prophet, this year's pick for Best Graphic Novel at the Association for Mormon Letters Awards. I could not be more grateful for this honor. This was my ultimate goal for the book, honestly, so could not be more grateful to be here. Thank you so much to everyone who's been a part of this journey, who read early drafts, who supported me, who has liked the book. I could not be more grateful. This book, it's a graphic novel, it's a parable for dark times, and if you feel like we're in dark times right now, this might be a book for you. I certainly learned a lot when I wrote it. I really feel like I found a way to move forward with hope, and whatever you're going through, you might see yourself in these pages. So thank you again. And look at this beautiful nature that we find ourselves in. Aren't we lucky? Aren't we blessed? Thank you, everybody.
Oh, that's fantastic. I loved Camilla's book. And we actually did a reading at a Wayfair party where she came in and she was wearing the Desert Prophet mask and hat. And it's just so fun to see her get all into character and share that with all of us. Andrew, did you have a chance to read this one this year?
No, I haven't. I want to.
Oh, I suggest you pick it up. It's a good read. All right, next we're going to move on to the Novel Award. The finalists are John Binion, Stephen C. LeSueur, and Gabriel Gonzalez Nunez. And the winner is John Binion for The Dead Fathers, Grief and Poker in the West Desert. John Binion is an AML Lifetime Achievement Award winner and has had a lengthy career in Mormon literature, including now 4 AML awards. His most recent book, The Dead Fathers, Grief and Poker in the West Desert, powerfully affirms his mastery as a writer with its quirky characters, multi-layered plot, and richly imagined setting. The book engages with familiar themes of gender, authority, the environment, spirituality, and history. As the book's desert landscape may seem empty at first glance, the book's engagement with these themes might initially seem to offer nothing new. But the reader will discover, alongside the book's protagonist, Christopher Twist, that this seemingly barren ground is actually teeming with life for those who have eyes to see. The Dead Fathers is a novel that is both contemporary in its focus and timeless in its message. This is John's 4th AML Award, including a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2020, and here is his acceptance.
My novel, The Dead Fathers, started with a place and a person. The place is Skull Valley, where my grandfather homesteaded 2 farms. I spent a lot of time there as a boy hauling hay, moving sprinkler pipes, herding cattle. My heart sings whenever I see that landscape again. When I was grown, I stopped by Indian Springs, where my grandfather with his young sons built a cabin and planted alfalfa. There I found a dilapidated trailer and met a squatter who liked all that space around him. He wanted never to return to civilization. Where my grandfather's old farm was is now a community of people who want to get off the grid. The desert is full of RTVs, fifth-wheeler trailers, and four-wheelers, people driving everywhere, and camping wherever they want. Years later, I decided to write a novel about someone like this man. I can't write anything without involving the religion of my people. So this man who wants to be left alone is visited by his ancestors who play poker and tell him he has a role to play in the cataclysm that hurtles toward them. I'm grateful to the Association for Mormon Letters for honoring my novel. Thank you.
And thank you John, for your contribution to Mormon Letters. This is fantastic. 4 awards is amazing. And I'm just struck by how rooted in this culture his work is. And like he says, the religion of his fathers, including that in his work. Did you have a chance to read this one? Can you tell us about this piece?
It is my next one to read. I'm very excited to read this novel. Ben, he's one of my favorite authors, so yes.
Of course, he's added so much to our community. All right, that's a great one. Okay, let's move on to the award for feature film. The finalists are the films Omaha, Truth and Treason, and Standout, the Ben Kerr story. And the winner is Truth and Treason, written and directed by Matt Whitaker. Truth and Treason is based on the true story of Helmut Hubner, a teenage resistance fighter who opposed the Nazi regime in Germany during World War II. And I believe we have an acceptance video.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Matt Whitaker here. On behalf of Kaleidoscope Pictures and the whole Truth and Treason team, we want to thank the Association for Mormon Letters for honoring our film. We've been great admirers of AML for a long time, and so this means a lot to us. 25 years ago last week, on June 6th, 2001, I sat down across from an old German man named Karl-Heinz Schnibe, and he shared with me his story, the story of his best friend Helmut Hubner, and their efforts together to resist and to stand up against Adolf Hitler and the Nazis, and using the power of the written word, spreading the truth, and that was their form of resistance. And what Carl said to me that day has changed the rest of my life. That June 6th became my D-Day. And I'll never forget that Carl said to me, you know, we were raised our whole lives singing that old Mormon hymn, do what is right, let the consequence follow. And he said, that's all we were trying to do. And I've never forgotten that. And he also told me that on the last day of Helmut's life, just before he was executed, he wrote a letter, and one of the very last things that this prolific young writer wrote was, please remember me. And that's what we've been trying to do. Carl asked us to share Helmut's story with the world, and we have spent the last 25 years trying to do that. And it's just such an honor to have been a part of this story, and then to be recognized, and to know that other people throughout the country and throughout the world are getting to know this story about some young Mormon boys who stood up, come what may. So again, just on behalf of our whole team, and also on behalf of Helmut Hubner and Karl-Heinz Schnibe and Rudi Woba and Salomon Schwartz, we say thank you.
Wow, that's powerful. Can you tell us a little bit about this film? I haven't had a chance to see it yet.
Well, I mean, so it's the Hubner story, and this is one of our great heroes in Mormon history. And unfortunately, he was not known for a long time until it was discovered by scholars in the 1970s. And then one of those scholars, and then these Helmut Huber's two friends had both emigrated to the United States and were living in Utah. And so these scholars were able to get directly from them what happened. And he was just a teenager who used the church's mimeograph machine to make anti-Nazi propaganda and spread it around, and was caught and eventually executed by the Nazi regime. And he talked about how his faith was a key part of his resistance, but he was excommunicated because the branch president was afraid that the whole branch could be persecuted by the regime for this. But then in the post-war, after he was rediscovered, the church removed that excommunication. And there was a great play about him that was done in the 1980s, and then now in a documentary. The same Matt Whitaker did a documentary a few years ago, and now he made this feature film, which I highly, highly recommend it. Very well made film, great music, just overall great production in this film.
Wow, and seems like a really important story to be coming to light, to be coming into our homes at this time.
Yeah.
Really, really great story. All right, let's go from feature film onto the short film award. The finalists for this award are Java Jive, I Hid My Heart Inside My Head, and All These Pieces. And the winner is Java Jive, written and directed by Barrett Bergen. I believe I see Barrett making his way to the podium. I didn't even know we had a podium, but you know what? He found one. So, Barrett, I'm going to let you take over for a minute here. The time is yours.
This is Bergen's 5th AML nomination and 2nd win.
Thank you. Thank you, please. Thank you. Oh, man. What an honor. Thank you. Thank you to the Association for Mormon Letters for this tremendous honor. Now, though totally unrelated to our film, I would be remiss if I did not use this moment to address a very real environmental crisis plaguing our world today, which is no laughing matter. Coffee, also sometimes referred to as kofifi. 1 cup of coffee destroys approximately 1 square inch of rainforest. 2 billion cups are consumed worldwide every day, and coffee farming contributes to an estimated 5% of global deforestation, along with habitat loss and water pollution. 1 pound of roasted coffee generates roughly 11 pounds of emissions, the equivalent of driving a car 11 miles. Coffee production involves forced labor, withheld wages, excessively long work days, and unsafe working conditions. Most of the world's coffee is produced by small farming households, many of whom cannot earn a viable living income. Ask yourself, do you want to support child labor? As a global religious culture, I believe we are ready to move beyond inherited moralism, purity culture, and arbitrary tests of belonging, and towards an ethics grounded in the real consequences of our choices for other people and for the planet. And I know this may seem completely random, but one of the clearest ways to begin is by giving up coffee. So please, do your part. Give up that cup. I'm almost done. As a demonstration of this commitment, Burgundy Pictures will donate 10% of all proceeds it receives from Java Jive, almost done, to an organization working to combat the distribution and consumption of coffee. Thank you.
Oh, what a card. Oh man, and that just goes right along with that film. That it was such a joy to watch that. It was so cringy and awkward and funny in just the best ways. Oh, did you get a chance to see this one, Andrew?
I did. Very funny film. I hope everybody can take it. It's only like 10 minutes, so definitely
Yeah,
take a look.
it's super quick, and if you can't find it, I know that Wayfair does have a link to it, along with a review written by James Goldberg. That's fun to read along with it after you watch it. And I definitely made more than one person sit down and watch this. So I'm doing my part to help end coffee drinking in America. All right, we're moving on to the next category, which is drama. Our finalists are Ben Abbott, Melissa Leilani Larson, and Morag Shepherd. And the winner is Ben Abbott for his play Backward. Backward is a beautifully written one-man play about a man who has the opportunity to live his life 3 times: forward, backward, and then forward again. The play begins as Roger begins to age backwards. The audience gets to experience regret, excitement, fear, embarrassment, and enlightenment with him in real time. It's a truly touching story about what it means to be human, and maybe even the purpose of our human lives. In a poignant realization, Roger sums up his experience. I see her past, present, and future. I think I see her as God sees all of us. We have an acceptance video from Ben.
I think we do, but I can't find it.
Oh,
Tell you what, let's go on to the next one, and then I'll see. It's not where I thought it would be, and
okay.
let's go ahead to the next thing, and then I'll pull it up.
Okay.
We'll do 2 in a row.
Cut that in. All right. Okay. Let's turn to the Poetry Award, honoring poetry books and chapbooks. The finalists are Dave Nielsen, Stephen L. Peck, and Jim Richards. And the winner is Dave Nielsen for his collection Meant to Be. The poems in Meant to Be beguile you, using their plain spoken setups and small size as camouflage for fantastic leaps, dry humor, tender confessions, or ironic, understated grief. Play is the watchword, but the stakes are high. Like Dickinson before him, Nielsen distills the human condition into poems about the slightest things: neighborhood walks and roly-poly bugs, dirty dishes and puddles of slush. A poet once wrote, "Large windows and grand poems, I like neither, rather a small opening in the wall with wavy green glass." The poems of Meant to Be give us small openings that are all the more luminous for their restraint, their quiet trust that the domestic is divine, that the quotidian is eternal. I'm going to tell you everything, Nielsen says at the start of the Hootenanny Pancake poem. And in 18 little lines, trust me, he does. We have a video from Ben accepting this award.
Hi everybody, I'm Dave Nielsen and I am so honored to receive this award. I want to say thank you to Andrew and thank you to the Association for Mormon Letters. This is a huge honor for me. I've never been asked to give any kind of acceptance speech, so very, very cool. I also want to just thank Kevin Watson and Tom Lombardo at Press 53 because they were the ones that made this book possible. I'm very grateful to them, and it's a great press with some very cool books available. Congratulations to the other finalists, Jim Richards and Stephen Peck. It is very cool for my book to be included in a conversation where they're also being talked about and honored. So thank you again, Andrew. I'm really blown away by this award.
It wasn't me. I wasn't the judge, but I was the one who did the email to him. So I guess he. But yes. Okay, and I'll stop share. I don't see that I do have a video. Ben sent his thanks, and
Okay.
at last I heard he was working on a video, but we don't have it yet. So
Okay. All right. The Hootenanny Pancake poem. That sounds fascinating. I have not read this book, but just for that poem, I think I might have to pick it up.
Dave is another person who works in the church history department, writing as a literary person and a historian. So that we have, we had Mel Leilani Larson there, and James Goldberg and Angela Hallstrom. It was quite a literary, and Scott Hales, quite a literary group there.
Can you imagine? And most of them were working on saints.
Yes.
Yes. And so those books, they're sold in Deseret Book, but those are like really literary kind of masterpieces a little bit, I think, the way they're pulling all of that history together with these great minds. Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to the young adult novel. The finalists for this award are Julie Berry, Kate Gilbert, and Aaron Stewart. And the winner is Julie Berry for her novel, If Looks Could Kill. What sets Julie Berry apart is the impeccable detail of her world building, the lyricism of her prose, and the depth of her themes. If Looks Could Kill, like her earlier AML award-winning novels, marries an evocative historical setting with epic characters and themes. Here, readers find themselves in the gritty world of the Manhattan Bowery in the 1880s, a cesspool of vice and human misery that draws on the reforming impulses of the Salvation Army, as well as Jack the Ripper and the avenging spirit of Medusa, reborn again and again into the bodies of abused women. Berry neatly blends these thrilling supernatural elements with humor and poetry. The novel raises questions about faith versus work, of spiritual salvation pitted against physical safety, of abuse and culpability and the cost of terrible acts. All these elements together add up to something impressive, by turns funny, startling, and deeply moving.
Hello, my name is Julie Berry, and welcome to Author's Note, my independent bookstore in Medina, New York. I am so pleased and humbled and grateful to be visiting with you today as the recipient of this year's YA award for the AML YA category prize for this year. And I want to extend my enormous gratitude to the judges and everyone involved in administering this program. And I want to thank you for the work that you do to take a close look at and shine a light on all of the creative work that comes out of our community. And I want to congratulate everyone whose work was considered this year. I'm in such excellent company. These award programs are so much more important than simply designating someone who receives an award. They do an important work in underscoring the urgency and the value and the ongoing need for people to tell their stories and for people to make works of art and for people to share what it means to be human through their creative output. I'm so grateful and thankful to be part of this community, and I'm inspired by everyone who's involved in this program. So thank you for your good work, and till next year.
It sounds like an amazing book. I haven't had a chance to read this one, but I think I'm going to pick that up for my daughter's birthday coming up here.
I've been a big I haven't read this one yet either, but I've read a lot of her previous books, and she's one of my favorites.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so we'll be moving on to the category for criticism. This is the award for nonfiction articles or books about literature or art. The finalists are Chanel Earle, Reed L. Nielsen, the quartet of Julie Swallow, Christopher James Blythe, Eric A. Ellison, and Jill Terry Rudy, and Darlene Young. And the winner is The Three Nephites, Saints, Service, and Supernatural Legend by Swallow, Blythe, Eliason, and Rudy. The Three Nephites works as a book of Latter-day Saint literary criticism on two levels. First, it acts as a summative collection of the work and thought of William A. Wilson, one of the preeminent scholars of Latter-day Saint folklore. It details how Wilson realized in graduate school that Mormons indeed have folklore and his life's work of collecting it. This book, completed by his students and colleagues, stands as a testament to his life's work and fills in an important part of the intellectual history of Mormon letters. Even more valuable is the volume's work on categorizing, contextualizing, and analyzing Three Nephites folklore itself. The introductory essays for each chapter help the reader to notice the unique features of each type of Three Nephites story, from apocalyptic admonitions to missionary rescues, from humorous jokes to faith-promoting rumors to the sincere and the sacred. For scholars outside the tradition, these essays provide needed cultural and theological context. For those within the tradition, they call for a reprisal of the biases we might bring to these stories, asking readers to see them as authentically representing Latter-day Saint concerns, even when they might not authentically represent actual facts. It admirably continues Wilson's work in asking scholars to take religious supernatural legends seriously as a means of studying the lived experience of religious communities. Our quartet of winners has submitted an acceptance video, which we will play now.
Julie, we've been recognized by the wonderful Association of Mormon Letters. This is a thrilling day.
Yes, we are so grateful to accept this award and so grateful that Bert has been honored by this award as well. We thank you for recognizing his incredible contribution to folklore and particularly to Mormon folklore. So thank you so much. From all of our colleagues, some of whom could not be here with us today, Jill and Eric also send their thanks.
That's right. This means a lot to us. And remember, if you encounter one of the Three Nephites, Julie and I and Jill and Eric want to hear all about it.
We do. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
That sounds like a fantastic collection, a well-needed collection. And I'm really impressed by how I feel like recently there's been kind of a push, and perhaps Christopher James Blythe is a lot of that with his podcast, The Angels and Seer Stones and those things, but this big push towards recognizing and collecting Mormon folklore that I think is so interesting.
Yep, it's a great podcast, Angels and Seer Stones. He does with his wife. Highly recommended.
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently we all need to pick up this book now and learn more about our culture through the tales that we tell. All right, let's move on to the award for creative nonfiction. This category honors literary nonfiction books, including collections of personal essays and memoirs. The finalists are Philip L. Barlow, Ryan W. Davis, Danielle Leavitt, and Amy Lee Scott. And the winner is Amy Lee Scott for her collection of personal essays, When the World Explodes. We are delighted to honor Amy Lee Scott's first collection of essays, When the World Explodes. These haunting braided essays weave the local with the global, the small with the great, and they press on the heart because ultimately disaster does find us all. A good friend dies. Cancer takes your adoptive mother. Contaminated floodwaters smother life. The air hides death. And such disasters constitute only a partial reckoning. Disasters work their cruelties without our leave or even our notice, at least until they can no longer be ignored. Scott balances our universal human mandate to bear disaster, knowing it is never the last one, with our human desire to thrive, clear-eyed despite it. Into this tapestry, she weaves explosive hope. Her closing sentences say it best. But I wonder if, within the utter chaos, lies something sparkling to become more, a precious metal yet undiscovered. Perhaps we are the catalyst alchemists sought in ancient times. If only we have the gall to keep all of our small fires burning. Here is Amy's acceptance video.
Hello, I'm keeping it very real today, coming from my car where moms live in the summer. This is the first moment I've had to myself since I found out the news. So between the camp drop-offs, I thought I'd pop on and thank the Association for Mormon Letters for this great honor. It's such a delight to find out that I won the nonfiction genre. This book has been such a labor of love, probably 20 years in the making. Some of my essays started in BYU creative writing classes, and then germs of those ideas were continued in my master's coursework at the University of Iowa. And then, of course, as I became a mother and began to think about what does it mean to raise Asian American children in this world, especially during COVID and post-COVID, and all the feelings of loss and grief that this excavation brought. It has been a learning experience, to be sure, and something that I keep thinking about as I found out the news about this nomination was my origin tale that I want to share with you. So when I was a baby, I was adopted from South Korea, and in the 80s, they would show up at the airport with all of these babies, and my cohort had 10 babies in it. And they would just ask passengers on the plane, is anyone able to take care of this child or any of these children on this long flight from South Korea to LA? And people would volunteer. So I was in the care of this South Korean couple for that whole entire flight, and we landed in LAX, and that is where my aunt met me because my parents, who lived in Ohio, were on their way to Detroit Airport, which was the only other major airport that LAX would connect with. So my aunt was taking care of me in the interim, and the gentleman that came off the plane holding me met my aunt and said, "Do you know where a payphone is? I need to make a call to Salt Lake City." And my aunt, who's not a member, said, "Oh, what are you doing in Utah?" And he said, "I'm going to a conference for my church." And my aunt just took a minute and said, "Huh, that's very interesting." And he went on and said, "I am the mission president of South Korea." And my aunt got teary-eyed and looked at this couple and said, "Did you know that this baby is going to a Mormon family in Ohio?" And of course, they had no idea. And all three of them just broke down in tears, just so touched by all of the timing that it took to bring me here. And I think about this story often when I think about origins and how they are laced with so much meaning. And it just seems like such an auspicious start to the journey that led me to writing this book and to this association who read it, and I am so very grateful. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your conference, and I hope to connect with you guys soon.
Wow, that was a lovely story that she shared with us. I really feel like the essay and the memoir are kind of a very Mormon genre for us to gravitate to after our foundations and history of pioneer journals. I think that you can kind of trace the line through and say, people are writing about their lives. Where are we going to go next? Well, we're going to write essays. We're going to write memoirs. And so I love I love that we have an essay collection here representing for our creative nonfiction winner today.
Yeah, and published by Ohio State University Press. It's very impressive.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, let's move on to the category for short fiction. The finalists for short fiction are stories by James Goldberg, Nathan Curtis Roberts, Jenny Rebecca Ridding, Charity Shumway, and Sitlali H. Xochitiotzin. And the winner is Jenny Rebecca Ridding's Sister Wives, a novella from the Eternities of Cats special volume of Iriantum. Sister Wives is exactly what it purports to be, a story of two sister wives, Rachel and Leah, sharing a common husband, Jake, in a polygamous marriage. But there's a twist. It is set in an imagined present day after a bombshell announcement in General Conference restores the principle to the contemporary church, primarily to rectify the church's overabundance of single members. Thrown into something of an ethical tailspin, Rachel and Jake negotiate whether to take on a second sister wife. But the situation is further complicated because they invite Leah, Rachel's childhood friend and former BYU roommate, as the new addition. There are numerous logistical matters to work out and even more interpersonal relationships to navigate, but ultimately something roughly approximating and perhaps only partially and imperfectly realizing marital bliss is tentatively achieved. Given the premise, it should surprise no one that much hijinks ensue in this delightful comedy. Ensue.
Yeah.
Okay. Much hijinks ensue in this delightful comedy of manners and errors, as this throuple maneuvers the intricacies of intimacy in a brave new modern world suddenly burdened down by the haunting ghosts of a pioneer past. Throughout, Ridding draws on her experience as a Jane Austen scholar to provide much rich detail and more than occasional loud laughter to her engaging tale, which is truly worthy of Austen's own clever wit and brilliant imagination. Here is Jenny's video.
And it's our second girls' camp related video in a row.
Oh, amazing.
Hi, I'm actually filming this from girls' camp, but I wanted to take just a moment to say how delighted and honored I am by this award from the Association of Mormon Letters, which is something I never imagined would happen. So thank you, thank you. There are half a dozen equally accurate ways to explain how I came to write Sister Wives, but here's one. In reading the journals of polygamous wives from early Latter-day Saint history, I've been struck by how much more they talk about each other than about their husbands, who were often away traveling as missionaries or apostles. There may have been frustrations and feelings just too private to write down, but nevertheless the households they describe seem to be supportive and nurturing, and I wondered how that might translate into the present day, with imperfect characters trying in good faith to live and love according to gospel principles. As I wrote this story, I felt that I uncovered some emotional truth that resonated with me, as I hope it does with you. Not just about polygamy, which, for the record, I hope never returns, but about relationships in general. So I'm grateful to all who read and enjoyed my story, and say thank you once again.
Lovely. I'm really excited to hear that she drew on her expertise as a Jane Austen scholar. That seems very fitting for this kind of interpersonal comedy.
So this was published as one of 3 stories in this Iriantum volume that's only available in print. You have to buy. You can. They'll send it to you as an ebook, but it's an ebook or in print. It's not available online. But I highly recommend it. It's Therick, the editor, got this story from Jenny, and it was longer because it's a novella, but it's so striking. And I must say, I love this story. A very difficult subject. It imagines a world in which polygamy is reintroduced and the pain that could cause, but that this family makes it work. And so Therick matched it together with 2 other similar stories that imagined polygamy coming back that had come out just in the last few years. both of which had won AML Awards. Melissa Larson's play, a pilot program, which imagines a similar situation, and Michael Phillip's The Year They Gave Women the Priesthood, which imagines a similar situation, but in one which men are now asked to marry more than women are more asked to marry more than one husband, and it's a kind of horror story, I must say. And so it's a great collection, and it's one of our books that is a finalist for the next section, the short fiction collection finalists. So go ahead.
Oh, that's a great transition there. Moving on to the short fiction collection finalists, which includes a collection edited by Glenn Nelson, The Christmasing Spirit, the collection edited by Therick Jepson, Eternities of Cats, and a collection of Stephen Tuttle's stories, We Should Be Somewhere by Now. And the winner for this category is
We Should Be Somewhere by Now by Stephen
Tuttle. We Should Be Somewhere by Now by Stephen Tuttle. Sorry, am I cutting out at all? Can you hear me okay?
I hear you now.
Okay. We Should Be Somewhere by Now is a delightful collection of stories which abundantly overflows with extraordinary writing. The stories are consistently creative and boldly inventive, taking the reader on a wild ride through playfully intriguing imaginary worlds full of unexpected surprises and gentle humor. In amanuensis, I'm sure I said that incorrectly. We are introduced to a reclusive man who builds a secret scale model of his hometown in his basement, complete with a mysteriously cryptic code to decipher its meaning. The Funambulist recounts a simple story about an old man who entered the tallest building in our town, took the stairs to the roof, and walked off it. The story, however, isn't really about the man or his demise per se, but rather about what the town, the wealthiest bartender, the teenagers, the bus driver, the children, the meteorologists, the ambulance drivers, the clergy, and the doctors have to say about the incident. As these stories within the story unfold, they collectively introduce grace notes of humor and levity to at least the telling of, if not quite the actuality of, this tragedy. There are simply no clunkers among them. Tuttle brings an exceptional dedication to and mastery of craft, which is simply a delight, not only to read, but to analyze, dissect, learn from, emulate, and simply marvel at. Here we have Stephen's acceptance.
Steve is one of our English professors at BYU.
Hello, thank you. I'm so honored to have been nominated for this award and to have received it. It means the world to me to have my work read and acknowledged in this way, and I'm grateful to the Association of Mormon Letters for their work of promoting and recognizing work in this way. The collection, We Should Be Somewhere by Now, contains stories that I've been working on or have carried with me in some cases for 20 years. Some of them have been around for a while, some of them are newer, but all of them, I think, in one way or another, represent some of the interests and preoccupations that I've had over my entire writing life. There's a lot of suburbia in this collection. There's a lot of overactive thinking and anxiety in this collection. These are things that show up in a lot of my work, and I'm pleased with the opportunity to put them all together and to have these stories speak to each other. I'm particularly grateful to the many writers and readers who have come through my life and who have guided me and instructed me. My professors at the University of Utah, my colleagues and cohort there have been so influential on my work. And now I teach at Brigham Young University, and my colleagues and my students here continue to influence and strengthen my work day to day and year to year. I'm so grateful to them. Again, I'm just so touched that my work has been acknowledged in this way. I thank you all for considering it and for giving it this time and this recognition. Thanks.
All right. That sounds like a fantastic collection.
Yeah.
Can you tell me anything about this collection? I know, Stephen, you said is a BYU professor.
I've just heard great things. The judge was really effusive about it. I've read some of his. I've read Ammunicis before, and it's they're they're not so much Mormon. They don't have a lot of direct references to Mormonism in it, but but they all say some very difficult, bring up very difficult moral questions, and they're not the easiest to read. He's a literary author, and they're not beach reads, but very good stories. So
Oh, but I love that we have writers like this that are introducing challenge into our culture. And sometimes when you have to work to read something, that's when it hits you the hardest,
yeah.
I love those pieces. All right. Let's move on to the award for picture books. The finalists are these 5 beautiful books that you see on the slide here. We have Changemakers, How to Say Thank You, Heartfelt, Parts of Us, and This is a Moment. And the winner is
You see, they're Changemakers.
Changemakers, Women Who Boldly Built Zion by Macarthur Krishna and Ann Pimentel, and illustrated by Jessica Sarah Beach. At a time when women are wondering if they matter at church, this book offers a resounding yes. Stories curated from scripture and global history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints show that women's voices are needed and have definitively changed the landscape of the faith. Women have played a vital role in growing the worldwide church with their ideas shaping its structure, policy, and culture. Dive in for a refreshing perspective on why women matter in building Zion. And do we have a video for this one?
We do. This is
Okay,
Amy.
perfect.
Hey, it's Ann Pimentel. I'm really grateful for this award and for everybody who made this possible for us. It was really fun working with Macarthur and researching so many amazing women. It was really hard to narrow down who we were going to put into the book, but it's such a great list of women that we added into the book, of these change makers who made actual change in the church structurally or culturally. It was really fun. And personal story, I found out while I was researching that I was related to one of the women, so that was really cool. We couldn't have done it without Jess. Her art added so much to the book and made it such a beautiful thing, and the stories came alive. We're really grateful to have been able to work with her. Thanks so much to Signature Books for publishing it and believing in us, and I'm just so grateful to have been part of this. Thank you.
I know that
Go ahead.
Anne and Macarthur are doing a lot of good work. I know that Anne does a lot of good work with Meeting House Mosaic, and showing up and trying to bring just different perspectives into church culture. And I love that.
This is, I'm not sure, but at least the 3rd or 4th picture book award that Macarthur Krishna has won. She's done a lot of work on, and she works with different people, works with different artists each time, it seems like, but doing things about women in the scriptures. She did a book about Mother in Heaven, and with lots of different art of different artists kind of imagining Mother in Heaven and the role that she could play in people's lives. So yeah, she's been a real force in picture books.
I have to tell you, receiving a book for Changemakers is just so very satisfying. So obviously, while Anne and Jessica and Signature and I worked hard, to me, it's even more of a celebration of the women in the book and the idea that we can all be inspired. We can all receive revelation. We can all see something in this world that needs to be better and different and good, and we can do it. And so I take this award as honestly impetus and a call for all of us to step in and use our might to do good in the world. Let's do it.
So great. And I love how these picture books kind of transcend borders. Like, you can read them to your kids, but you can also enjoy them yourselves. This art is striking.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's move on to the religious nonfiction category. This category includes devotional works, books on scripture, and academic studies of any aspect of Mormonism. History books, however, are not considered, as the Mormon History Association has its own awards that cover those books. So the finalists for our religious nonfiction award are Robert Reese, Joseph Spencer, Chad Ford, and Jennifer Finlayson Fife. And the winner is Chad Ford for 70 times 7, Jesus' Path to Conflict Transformation. Beautifully designed and beautifully written, Chad Ford's 70 times 7 approaches a well-established topic in a manner that is not sentimental, trite, overdone, or cliche. By moving deftly between personal and professional style, as well as between the socio-political interactions of communities and nations, Ford invites a wide audience to consider the power of peace. Ford openly admits the risks and rewards of peace building. Ford addresses concerns with care and logic, but he continues to kindly insist that the rewards of peace are worth the risk. While some may not like the book's arguments, no one who reads it will ever forget it, and many will find ways in which they need to modify their own lives. At its best, 70 times 7 is nothing short of life-changing. We have an acceptance video from Chad.
Okay, here we go.
I am so grateful and honored to receive the Association of Mormon Letters Award for Best Religious Nonfiction for my book, 70 times 7. This has been a labor of love that I worked on for 4 years to get this to print, and to receive this honor is so gratifying. I want to thank Spencer Fluman, who was the director of the Maxwell Institute, when he offered me a contract on this book, seeing a concept document about the way Jesus resolved conflict in the New Testament, and through his full support behind the book. I want to thank Miranda Wilcox and Morgan Davis, the editors at the Maxwell Institute, who took very rough prose and turned it into eloquent storytelling. Their insights into the book were so deep and so powerful. In many ways, I felt like they were co-authors. I also want to thank my colleagues, Patrick Mason, David Whippy, and Michael Lingalinga, who provided so much editorial insight and wisdom to the manuscript of the book. And I want to thank my wife, Amanda, who just gave me the spiritual support to have the courage to write this book, to put my stories and the stories of Jesus together in print. Jesus calls us to be peacemakers, and I hope that those who read this book will feel that call and have the courage to follow it. Thank you.
All right, that's exciting to hear that. I know that Chad has kind of a different experience than what we usually see, where he comes from kind of sports and tech, and then now he's doing peacemaking and now writing this fantastic book. And that's really exciting that we get to share this one.
Great.
All right, let's move on to the award for Best Podcast. This year, the judges focused on podcasts with a literary or media focus. As a side note, I love that we have so many podcasts out there that we have to narrow it down, what we're looking at. This year, our finalists are Called to Create, Dialogue Out Loud, Latter-day Saint Art, Mormons in Media, and The Storming Journey. And the winner is The Storming Journey, and its hosts, Adam McLean, Elle Call, and Liz Busby. This is the second time that Liz has won this award. Mormon authors, like Orson Scott Card, H.B. Moore, and James Goldberg, have a long tradition of turning scripture into story, taking stories from the Bible and Book of Mormon and fleshing out the characters, dialogue, and setting. The Storming Journey podcast is doing the opposite, turning story back into scripture through the practice of sacred text reading. Following in the footsteps of Harry Potter and the sacred text, the hosts are reading Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive, using a variety of sacred reading techniques, treating Mormon literature and Mormon spirituality as worthy discussion topics. And we have an acceptance video from the hosts of The Storming Journey.
Sorry, get that going here.
Hi, I'm Elle.
I am Liz.
And I'm Adam.
When we started this podcast, we knew we were embarking on a huge project. We have chosen to live at least the next 12 years together as we go chapter by chapter through each book, Life Before Death.
We're so thankful that Elle had the idea for this podcast and asked us to participate in it. And we're also so grateful that Brandon Sanderson and his many fans have built this wonderful world together, one that strengthens faith and community. Strength before weakness.
We'd like to also thank the Association for Mormon Letters and the wonderful community within the study, writing, and reading of Mormonism. Together, we share this journey before destination.
That's so great. And such a marriage of these different worlds where we have this analytical kind of, they're doing analysis. We have the literary world where everyone's reading these Brandon Sanderson novels. And then we have the podcasting world. We have this oral tradition that we're kind of combining all three of these different aspects of culture into one discussion, which I think is very interesting.
Did they say it's going to take them 12 years at this rate to finish it? Oh my.
12 years. Can you imagine a 12-year podcast?
Yeah. But
that's a commitment. We do the whole scriptures every 4 years, right?
This Brandon Sanderson series is an epic series, and we're definitely going to be paying more attention to it in coming years, and as it finally is going to be apparently going to be coming to a conclusion. We have it on our sites to talk more about that in the future.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's one of those pieces that's getting culture and Mormonism out into a broader world.
All right. That's it.
We can wrap it up. Let's say congratulations to all of the finalists and winners. Thank you to our authors and creators for sending their acceptance videos. Thank you for watching and for celebrating the 50 years of the Association for Mormon Letters with us. And we hope that you'll join us for the next 50 years as well.
And thank you, Jeanine.
Thank you, Andrew.
Bye-bye.
Bye.